Joe.
From Dave and Adams. I forget. I'm supposed to apparently introduce myself each time because that was happening last break. Is they were like, who is that guy? Why is he dressed like Ricky Bobby? What's he doing?
Who is Ricky Bobby and why is he here?
Yeah. That is actually what somebody said. Who's the Ricky Bobby guy?
It's kind of a big deal in the Magic world.
Yeah, you might have seen me up things.
Box topper, we will do that at the, we'll do it at the end. So, if you had to put a number on it, how many events have you judged for Magic?
I did 111 weekends in a row, a couple years back, so more than that.
Yeah.
And that was just in a row.
That's pretty crazy in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, it took some doing to get Christmas and Thanksgiving weekend covered.
Right.
With events, but yeah, no, I've been many places. A lot of people recognize me even if they don't know me. And I also recognize a lot of people even if I don't know them.
I miscounted. So we're gonna see the first rare first.
The Better Fauna Shaman.
Yeah. The Automech Artisan Ovaya. Sometimes the names really trip me up because how I'm like, well, what language are we talking?
All words are made up, but
right.
These made up words, they don't come with a pronunciation guide.
Right. Because your pronunciation would vary depending on, say, what language they're supposedly speaking and all sorts of stuff.
My favorite example of this was the Pokemon Suicune. People, apparently a bunch of British people thought it was Suisun. And I was like, okay, that's a different word.
Yep.
That boosted
Sloop. Laminus Ironclad. Nice planes there.
Yeah. We like that all the
Adrenaline Jockey.
That card actually seems like it's gonna be pretty good in
this
some
one?
other formats. Whenever a player casts a spell on not their turn, they take 4. Four is a lot.
That is a lot of damage.
Yeah. If you manage to stick this, then it costs 4 for them to counter your spells going forward.
This will go good against blue.
Yeah.
Because blue likes to cast, blue's control, so it likes to cast on other people's turns.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very red. Roadside Blowout. All right. Agent Vendetta. Pothole Mole. Grim Javelineer.
It's the person who throws a javelin.
Yeah. You never really realize, you have Archer, you have, Musketeer, you have, but then you're like, oh, Javelin. Oh, yeah, I guess Javelin. Because usually, personally, I feel like Javelin, it's the old Roman method where they throw the Javelin first and then it's sword, and they don't keep throwing Javelins.
Yeah.
But there are people where they specialize in just lobbing Javelins.
Yeah. Magic exists in this universe. It's not unreasonable to have enough javelins that's your primary.
True. Oh. Heavy insect token and an elephant. Ooh, that looks really cool.
Add red for each goblin you control. It's just
other goblins you control have haste, which a lot of goblins already have haste, but for the ones that don't, this just gives it to them, so it's great.
Yeah, there's plenty of things that just make a ton of goblin tokens that don't have haste.
Right.
Siege Gang Commander, Original Krengo, and then just being able to add red for each goblin is just that's so much mana.
That's a lot of mana. And see, I'm still debating with myself on whether or not I like the start your engines mechanic. I don't really know if I'm really gonna like it.
I think it's fine mechanically. The issue's probably too strong of a word, but it takes a lot of doing to get that up to max speed, and there's a lot of stuff where I really want to have max speed. Lumbering World Wagon is not a wagon.
No, there's no wagon
and
involved.
It's also not lumbering.
No, it is
clearly
dancing.
Agile.
It's break dancing, more or less. Lost Monarch.
Yeah, the zombies gaining afflict is the real juice on that card.
Yes, afflict 3.
Yeah,
that's pretty
if you couple it with some sort of curiosity effect, that's where you get to really start punishing them, because if your 2/2 has a flipped 3, the other's like, all right, I'll just not block and take 2. But it's like, oh well, if I take 2 and then you draw a card, or I can take 3.
Yeah, it's the.
Oh, this
It's
card.
gonna be.
I like this card a lot. This red shift.
Oh, the red shift.
Yeah, so like 12 mana, put any number of permanents from your hand onto the battlefield is so silly. Like
It's crazy, but it'll have its uses. Like
Yeah.
it's the.
I'm just a big fan of activated abilities that cost double digits of mana. Like
People will find a way to produce the mana.
yeah, it can tap for 2 on its own, or if you pump it. And so because the exhaust ability doesn't include tapping it, you can tap it for mana to help pay for the exhaust.
The other Halo break. I see one Halo break. I didn't. When is there another one listed? I see another one listed for Monday the 17th. If that's the one you're talking about, the other Halo break. That one currently has not sold out yet, but that's on the 17th. So feel free to get in on that if you missed your chance to get on the other one that's later today.
Yeah, just keep throwing it up here. I'll get into the trash can. I'm blocking your access to the trash can.
Should be, yep, okay. Rocketeer, Boost Buggy, Broadcast Rambling, or Rambler. Like, wee!
Yeah, in the first break when we got that art, I was like, oh, what's the wheel that you use for steering? And I was like, it's a steering wheel.
Yeah.
Like, it's just embarrassing.
He's a professional, folks.
Yeah. Professional at Magic rules, not at words in the normal stuff.
English is difficult, folks. I like that this is a bobblehead.
Yeah. It's a great play on words for the baubles.
Yeah.
Bauble's its own word that is a different word than bauble.
Right. Interface Ace. Token, Full Throttle.
Full throttle, so many combats. 2 additional.
Two
combats.
additional. After the main phase, there are 2 additional. So you have a total of 3 combat phases.
And at the beginning of each combat, untap all creatures that attack this turn. So like
That's
first
crazy.
combat, they should just already be untapped. But like
Yeah, just wham, wham, wham. And it's just gonna keep going.
yeah. What's also really good is, well, I guess I can still tap them down again, but I was like, if you attack first and then do that, like they can't really untap it as in your main phase, but they can just still tap it all down in your
Pretty good.
beginning combat phase.
Yeah.
Morgana Raceway, like we mentioned in the other break, it's
All right.
it's pretty.
Like
so like soul lands always need to have a drawback, and the fact that it taps for colorless, for like unrestricted colorless, is like helpful because you always use it, especially on turn 1 to get your speed going
yeah.
to begin with. This is, I think, our second or third Willow Rush Verge. Like I don't know why, but some or like the reason for the difference. But like some Willow Rushes have, or some Verges have a triangle gateway, and others have a circle gateway.
Huh.
I'm doing the shapes with my hands to help emphasize what triangles and
Yeah, I
circles
wonder
look
why.
like, in case people looking at these don't understand.
Renewed Solidarity. All right.
So, like, it's
Choose
a
creature
good,
type.
like,
Yeah.
tokens deck
Yeah.
thing. Like, just make double copies of everything. Duretti, like, the real upside to the back half of this is that because you may sacrifice an artifact if you do, so they can remove the thing you're trying to reanimate in response, but you can't get blown out where you sacrifice your artifact and don't get the thing you wanted to bring back in.
Okay.
Barring some sort of effect like a Grafdigger's Cage that doesn't let the card leave your graveyard, but it's still legal to sacrifice it. Yeah, because it's choice made on resolution, it's pretty hard to get blown out by, or blown out with.
Okay, so you don't have to do that part till after you see if the spell resolves.
Yeah, like the
Because people will wait until, if they don't know all the rules, they're like, oh, I'll wait till it's fully, and I do everything on the card, and then try to counterspell.
yeah.
So what would you do in that situation? Is just the spell fails, or
Well,
they
so-
can't cast it?
So it's going to depend on like a lot of specifics there. Like more specifically, like that's an activated or a triggered ability on attack. So if they try to counterspell it, well, it's not even a spell. So it's like, hey, we're going to untap your mana, put your counterspell back in your hand. Here's a warning. But if it's like if there are choices made on resolution and you ask them what are those choices, and they tell you you've made that spell resolve. So if you then cast a counterspell again, you couldn't. So we're gonna untap your mana and.
Okay. So you can't, wait. So like, if I ask you, oh, what does that do when it resolves?
Well, so like the classic example is this card Cabal Therapy, which says like name a card. The player reveals their hand and discards all instances of that card.
Okay. Fair
the only
Fortune
part
End
you know
Boss?
when it goes on the stack is that you're being targeted. And so if you target me with Cabal Therapy and I say, what are you naming? And you say Force of Will, I go, I'm going to counter that with Force of Will. It's too late. I've already said your spell is resolving. What are you naming? Like,
Okay.
that, like certain choices made on resolution are to protect the caster and let them sort of bury the lead a little bit on what they're going to do.
Okay.
Far Fortune looking more, I guess, more Mad Max 1 in this art. Like
Yeah, it looks like Mad Max.
Very like Fury Road on the showcase frame.
Aetherdrift? Yeah. Nice forest there.
Broadside Barrage, I like a lot. 5 damage to a creature or planeswalker at instant speed plus loot. It's not bad. Flame of Anor sees like a ton of play because you get, if you have a wizard, you get to deal 5 damage and draw 2, which is like really like just way better. But you don't have to have a wizard for that. In Pioneer, being able to discard a card like your Arclight Phoenix is probably pretty helpful. But there's all sorts of stuff. It's our third.
Wag
It's our
Feast?
third foil Quack Feast.
Wow.
Ooh,
This one
another
is very like Evangelion to me. Like, it's very cool. The first time I was like, oh, it's very Gundam-esque. And I'm like, wait, no, it's not. It's more Evangelion. But Oil Deep Gear Hulk is pretty cool.
I think is like possibly the least playable of the 5 Gear Hulks. Like the green white one's the best one. Like the green red one has like a home in a big stompy deck to get around like one ring shenanigans and other fog effects. The blue
Merfolk?
white one has double striking prowess, so like that's pretty good. That
Ooh.
dude is nuts. Like
Zombie Wizard.
yeah, when you discard a creature, you can pay 2 and a blue to make a 4/4 copy of the creature. Like
Now, because some people, because I've been asked, and so I know there might be somebody out there that maybe hasn't heard it in the past. Since the set symbol's different here, does that mean it can only be used in Commander, or is it Commander optional?
so it's from the Commander set, which means it's not standard legal. It's not going to be modern legal, but it's Commander, Legacy, and Vintage legal.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's going to see it play in like a Legacy deck,
But it
like,
could, but like it doesn't make Legacy. You have lots of options.
Yeah, I mean, like pay 3 mana, make like a 4/4 Lightsteel Colossus in Vintage probably doesn't get there. Like a 4/4 Grizzlebrand where you pay 7 life and still draw 7 cards might get there. 4/4 Emrakul is not terrible because the Annihilator 6 is still pretty relevant. Like
Okay.
so, yeah, like you want to use that with things that either cost a lot, that generally cost a lot more than 3 mana. And then you care a little bit about like, does the fact that this is now only a 4/4 matter so much? Like Emrakul, probably not so much, but like I mean Ulamog with like Annihilator, it's Annihilator 4, and like Indestructible, like that's not huge. Just lose 6 power for.
Okay. So I know it's come up before, so I figured while we have the judge in here, I'll raise the question again because there's always new people jumping in the chat that may or may not know.
Yeah, Chad, if you have any rules questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll see if I can help you. Somebody asked where they put their cards, and I didn't know that one. I really wanted us to get a showcase Mimeoplasm. That's our second
That'd be
regular
cool.
art Mimeoplasm.
It is really cool.
Showcase Mimeoplasm reminds
Jake,
me a lot of Glenn after he met Lucille on The Walking Dead.
Ah, okay. Tripper Experts. Curse Cloth Wrappings. Zombies get +1/+1.
then being able to embalm something out of your graveyard means pay the mana cost, exile it, and make a token copy of it. And so, like, you know, and then it gets +1/+1. This
Oh.
is really nice. Like, I think this is like a fairly fun card. 8 energy is kind of a lot, so they gives your opponent some chance to like do some responding before you go
Okay.
crazy with it. But like, if you go turn 4,
Full throttle
this,
again.
next turn fetch land and a explosive vegetation, boom, there's 8 energy for you, and like just cast something on turn 5. That's huge.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were gonna keep the energy mechanic or not after. 'Cause at least I remember it in Fallout. It may have been out before. I don't know.
Yeah, it originally premiered in Kaladesh.
Okay.
It was the problem was like it was a little too good because like the card the big issue was Aetherworks Marble, which was 6 energy and tap it. Like look at the top, I think 6 cards, and you can play something for free out of it. And like
Okay.
there were Eldrazi in the format too, so
Oh
was
no,
just
yeah.
get to 6 energy, which also the Aetherworks Marble would trigger and give you an energy every time something went to your graveyard. So like just random incidental stuff would also help provide you some energy.
Fearless Swashbuckler. It's a fish pirate.
Oh yeah, like it's like we opened that in one of the earlier breaks, but like draw 3, discard 2 is also like pretty insane because there's some stuff that cares about like whenever you discard cards.
Yeah. I got track. So, yeah, I didn't mean to just announcing a card. I didn't mean to cut you off there. So it's like energy was too good, and so they kind of took it away for a while and then brought it back.
Yeah, so I mean, like they tend not to revisit like a mechanic too soon unless they made it evergreen, like prowess or scry. Evergreen means like this mechanic would appear in any set. It is always something that could just be ready for, like flying or trample. Is just those are evergreen. Like it's not like, oh look, this set has trample in it. Like
Yeah, it's just trample's a possibility no matter the set.
yeah, and so that's what
Throttle
evergreen means.
Fabricator.
Yeah, see now that's
See, this is cool.
That's the Fury Road Mad Max.
Yes, I see, because I was like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, this is Mad Max.
Yeah.
But yes, this is more the Fury Road Mad Max. That's
Yeah.
more the classic.
People watch Mad Max 1, like the actual original one, are like very confused by it because it is like the least Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
That was literally just they paid some people to like just be people. And
Yeah.
that was done on like a super shoestring budget.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting his name, but like that dude's filmography, the director, is like Mad Max 1, 2, 3, Happy Feet 1 and 2, Babe and Babe 2, and then like comes back to like Mad Max Fury Road, and it's like, what? It's like that's some twists, like, and it wasn't like George Miller. And it's not like George Miller is like embarrassed of like Babe or Happy Feet. Those are passion projects for him. He's like, I really want to do this too. It's like, what are your 3 favorite things? And it's like dystopian apocalypses, talking pigs, and dancing penguins. All right, sure. That might as well
Which, depending on how things go, those may all be in the same movie.
yeah. There are theories that it's a shared universe. 'Cause, like, there's no reason that like Babe Pig in the City couldn't have happened before the Mad Max movies. Nothing in Mad Max says there weren't talking pigs.
That's true. It could all be in the same universe.
Yeah. Reminds me of like there's a parody of John Wick called Dog Wick, where John dies and the dog goes on the killing spree.
Yeah.
And like at the end of it, like there's
Daring
like,
mechanic?
some cops reading through a book and it says, "There's no law that says dogs can't shoot."
Risky shortcut. Draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. Just seems standard black.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, being able to take the life from your opponents is actually pretty helpful.
Lifecraft engine.
Yeah, giving your stuff 1/1 is pretty helpful there too. I like these verges. Like they're
The
pretty,
verges.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting because like.
So I'm assuming that's how you get from the different planes.
Yes and no, because like the verges were introduced previously. It's like these 5 are like definitely depicting how you get from one to another. But which set was it?
Sure,
Was it Dustborn? I think it's Dustborn.
Aetherhood.
Is where the other
Snake
verges.
Oh, Chandra, Spark Hunter.
That's a
Sweet.
good one. Yeah, that passive ability
Or-
is just like animate a vehicle and give it haste each combat. So like that's really good, just to constantly be crewing and stuff.
Right.
Like the
This is a pretty good Chandra.
yeah. Like the abilities are okay, but like that passive is just pretty nuts. If you like just start playing like creature, or like not creature vehicles, they're coming out as functionally creatures, as long as your Chandra doesn't get borked.
Which is possible.
I really liked from a story perspective, like the both of the Gatewatch battle, because like what they did like was like everybody used like some power to contribute to taking down Kozilek and the Lamog. It was like, okay, Nissa, you're gonna pump the whole plane's mana into Chandra. Jace is gonna tell you how to do this. Gideon, you're gonna fight an entire army while like hold it at bay while we do this. And then Chandra, you are going to make the most fire any person has ever made in the history of existence. And it was like, yep. And they were like, yeah, did you know you could burn these things to death if you use enough fire? And they're like, how could you possibly make that much fire?
Group effort. Winter.
I like that we said Radiant Lotus.
Yeah,
Finally.
Radiant Lotus.
Oh man, this was the card you were brought in to pull. All right, so I got so much.
That's what I
to talk about
do.
with This thing. So, Radiant Lotus is target player, which means it's not a mana ability, which has like so many implications. One, you can deflecting swat or like untimely malfunction this to redirect who's getting the mana to yourself.
How?
Because it's not a mana ability, it's target player.
Oh,
this actually
yes,
goes
yes,
on the
true.
stack.
It goes on the stack. You are
And
correct.
can be responded to. But also on the other side, you can double that mana ability with so many different things. Like there's Ashnod, like there's a Grixis Ashnod that says like when you activate an ability that's not a mana ability, copy it. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, all right, that's pretty good.
Like, all right.
Like Rings of Bright Hearth copies it. What's his name? There's it's from I think Magic 2015. There's a 4-mana ogre that is Rings of Bright Earth, but pay red instead of 2 colorless for it. What's his name? Kirkash.
What's up, eggs?
Yeah. But yeah, like there's a ton of
I've not been replaced. He just knows way more magic stuff than me. I know a lot, but not this level. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of options.
yeah, Aetherdrift, Echoes of Eternity. Like there's something like 10 cards that will copy that ability. Some of which is like kind of a lot of setup, but it's also not legendary. Not that like because you're sacrificing things,
You're
like
right.
having multiples of it doesn't really do much. But like Lithoform Engine copy or Echoes of Eternity. I know copies activated and triggered abilities from colorless sources.
Yeah.
It might have extra, like you make a copy of the spell too. I'm drawing a complete blank on the rest of the text on that card. But yeah, if you like make 2 Radiant Lotuses, it doesn't really do much, but it lets you, put not all your eggs in one basket in case you're worried about an untimely malfunction.
So it saves you from a random disenchant or shatter or...
Yeah, I mean, like you could always sack in response, but like it's not going to do as much. Also, like 6 mana is kind of a lot to like get this effect, so you want to be sacked with a couple of Lotuses. Like you don't have to pay the mana to activate it, but like 6 mana to get into play is kind of a lot. Like that guy, you can just pay an extra 1, and for 7 mana get 2 Radiant Lotuses.
Yeah.
So it's not going to do it's not as good as just having 2 Lotuses or doubling it, but like it does let you do some stuff, bring some stuff back, and then do some more stuff if you really want to. Caradora is like reminds me of Stelladora breakfast treats, which I've never actually seen the commercial for. There's just a bit about them by Patton Oswalt, so that's my exposure to that term. But like also very similar to
Sunmare?
Carador Ghost Chieftains, which is so weird to have like such similar names. Oh, that dude again.
Yeah.
Hashatan. Yeah, like
Hashtan.
yeah,
Scarab's Fist.
I just realized we already talked about it in this break.
And Repurposing Bay. That should...
Yeah, Repurposing Bay is an interesting little, like much more expensive to activate Birthing Pod for artifacts only.
Yeah.
I say much more, but like Birthing Pod was 1 in a Phyrexian green, so almost always just 1 and 2 life to
Yeah.
activate, but like still technically 2 mana.
If you want to pay the 2 mana, you can. But Like I guess one of those depends on your situation where you might be like, I need those 2 life.
Yeah, in competitive Magic, you were almost always paying just the 2 life. Because like your dream was to go like turn 3 birth, like turn 1 mana dork, turn 3 birthing pod, play a Deceiver Exarch on turn 4, untap the birthing, like to untap the birthing pod, sack your elf to get a what was it? To get Phantasmal Image. Phantasmal Image copies the Deceiver Exarch, untap the birthing pod again, sack the Phantasmal Image, which is now a 3-drop instead of a 2-drop because of copy effects. Goes through your deck, grab Restoration Angel, use that to blink the Deceiver Exarch, untap your birthing pod again, tap it, sacking the Restoration Angel to go get Kiki Jiki and combo on the spot. So that was the classic like turn 4 combo win with birthing pod. Just turn 1 elf, birthing pod, and a Deceiver Exarch would just get you there because everything else you just tutor out of the deck.
Makes sense. So, what is your least favorite mechanic that Magic has used? Like maybe not like the worst like functioning, but like the one that like you don't enjoy. Like
I guess destroying lands is probably like the thing from like named mechanics. Maybe it's not the ones that like I really dislike. Actually, like not think about it. Like probably like my least favorite card they've printed is the 3-mana Teferi Time Raveler.
Okay.
Which I really want them to have
River Pirate?
swapped its plus and its passive. I think it would be a perfectly fine card with the plus and the passive swapped. It's a pretty good pack.
Yeah.
In that red, blue, they call it Verge.
Yeah, the Verge. Yeah. Ox. Prophet of the Scarab.
So that draw is not optional. It has to be whichever one's bigger, and you have to draw the cards.
Yeah.
So like, it would actually be really funny to like cast that, and then somebody like instant speed traumatizes you, and you mill half your deck, and then like, oh no, this is too many zombies now. I just lose because I drew more cards.
Now I gotta draw all the zombies.
Afterburn Expert's pretty good because like the fact that you have multiple of them, you can just keep chaining them together by like just paying exhaust and like just keep getting them back.
So yeah, you just don't like land destruction.
Yeah, I like once I get some lands out, I want them to like sort of stay out. I don't mind targeted land destruction of like destroy 1, destroy 2, like 1 for each of you.
Right.
Stuff like Field of Ruin or I think it's Demolition Field.
Okay.
Is the new Field of Ruin that specifically only does like the 2 players impacted do it? Because Field of Ruin is specifically all players. So in EDH, if like player 1 destroys player 3's land, players 2 and 4 also will get a land. And like suddenly they're ahead, and it's just like, well, that's problematic. Like,
oh, I see. So
people
like,
definitely put eggs in baskets. By the way, eggs in breaking. Like, they're not going out there with a carton individually putting the eggs in. Like when you get wild eggs, you got to clean them.
Stow Greatness because he's the bestest boy.
My wife and I keep chickens.
Okay.
Ketramos. Oh,
The
so
New
good.
Dawn.
Yeah. So like attacking and blocking with 7 cards in exiles, like kind of a high barrier, but like the real juice is like every time something goes to your graveyard or exile, you draw a card, lose a life, because you can also just do incremental blink 1 creature, blink 1 creature, blink 1 creature. That's our second oil deep. You're all got
Yeah,
the same
the
box.
same box. It's a
shame
different art.
Yeah. It's a shame that I think that's the least playable one. Because
Well, it may be the least playable. I still think it's playable.
Yeah, it's
but I agree it's not the best.
It's really a 4-mana 4/4 lifelink with Ward 1 that says look at your opponent's hand. You're very likely to not take their card because the odds of, like it has to be like a high problem card to merit taking it and giving them an unknown card. Like there's an old card, Vendilion Click, that would had flash, you would look at their hand. You could choose one to put on the bottom of their deck, and then they would draw a card. But it is almost always you just look and then not put something there because, like, unless they had something like actively problematic, you would just be like, yeah, I don't want you to have like unknown random card.
Understandable. Yeah, it's very situational. Like, you're not always gonna just have them discard and draw. But like, if it's like, oh no, like,
there's
whatever
also, like,
card
there's certain
is.
cards you would never want them to discard, and certain cards you would like love them to discard because like maybe you've got a reanimate effect that you can then like, you know, what is it like?
Apocalypse Runner.
Drink their milkshake. That's the, That's the.
I drink your milkshake.
If you've got a milkshake, and I've got a milkshake, and I've got a straw that reaches across the room. These are some very deep cut references that have nothing to do with the topic at hand.
Nope. Pilot, and this is.
Whoa!
Yep. This, I know this wasn't what you went whoa over.
Yeah.
But I saw this when I was little, so I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
It's clearly the scene from Akira.
Well,
It's the Akira poster.
Yeah, that's the poster. There is a card that is the Akira slide. We pulled it in one of the earlier drifts, but
This is what I was not expecting. That's actually pretty cool that we got. All right, so this is her walking up to it, and this is her posing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh, this is so cool.
Good job, whoever has red this time.
Yeah, who's got red? All right. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Oh no, we started talking. We'll have to do it at the end.
Yeah. All right, random's random. Everybody keep rooting for red.
Yes, whoever gets red. We didn't do the randoms in the beginning, it turned out.
Yeah, this way everybody's
fault.
just rooting for the best stuff the whole
Now
way
everyone's
through.
rooting for the best stuff. Regal,
Heroisaur.
the last ride.
A 3-mana 5/4 that pumps your that anthems your other things is like pretty huge.
Mhm.
And then like Stride Changer Automaton, like anything that gives extra
Explosive Gateway?
like tokens. Explosive Gateway. No, Explosive Getaway.
Getaway, yes.
So yeah, that's the please don't let the invisible fire burn my friend. Because,
Yeah.
Like literally, you save one friend and then everything else burns. Like, fun fact: there are methanol fires in racing that are invisible. So like, the invisible fire can actually be real.
All right.
That the invisible fire is not what's happening to Ricky Bobby in that.
No.
Scene. He is just throughout that movie constantly thinking something is happening to him, and it's not. What's really good is when he gets back from the race, and Cal's like, "Oh, Ricky, so good of you to stop by." What do you mean stop by? This is my house.
Yep. Planes.
So that's a really good planes, especially.
Yeah, it looks right. And
Collar
Crypt
Chariot.
Collar Chariot.
It's a good card because whenever you discard like cards, you make that many zombies.
Right.
So like, again, it doesn't care about like how you space them out. Like discarding like your whole hand at once or over the course of like several activations of something, you still get the same number of zombies.
Right.
And like, discard cards make zombies is pretty nuts. Like, because for anybody who hasn't picked up on it, when you cycle a card, you are discarding it. That's the reason why in original Amonkhet a lot of cards said whenever you cycle or discard a card, they wanted to make sure everybody knew like cycling does trigger this.
And now we will do the randoming because for some reason it totally slipped my mind.
You gotta go fast.
Gotta go
We
fast,
went too
and we got too fast into this box. So let's see who's in this break, and then we will random it up and see who gets what. Aaron M has 3 spots. Casey S has 3 spots. Francisco A has 1 spot, and Greg H has 1 spot.
So far in every one of these breaks, if you aren't first, you're last has been true, and that the person who was in first and the person who was in last were not the same person.
Roll the dice. 12.
That's so many to build so much tension.
2,
And it builds
3,
so little tension
4,
because
5, 6,
it's
7,
the first half.
8,
Like, it's random plus random.
10. Yep. And 12.
Alright, so 6 is the hot spot.
Now for the names. Definitely need more than 2. Need more than 4. 6, 7, 8. 8 is good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good luck, everybody.
KCS maintains the 6th seed and keeps... Oh, KCS is first and last and 6th. This is every possible configuration of ruining my joke while also getting the Chandra.
All right, black will go to KCS. Blue will go to Aaron M. Colorless will go to KCS. Green will go to Aaron M. Land/token will go to Greg H. Multicolor will go to Francisco A. Red will go to KCS. Congratulations on the Chandra. And white will go to Aaron M. Thank you, everybody, for buying out this break. It's been a ton of fun.
That means Casey got
That
the Radiant
means-
Lotus and 2 Chandras.
That's pretty cool.
And 2 Lifecraft engines. Yeah, the multicolor's also like, oh, and a full throttle. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in red. There's a lot of good stuff in the multicolor. And then don't forget the first place foil in black and the first place foil basic land. There's a lot of
cool stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of distro here.
Yeah, it's spread out pretty good. So that's really good. Thank you guys for buying out this break. It's been a ton of fun. And we will get these cards sorted and out to you soon. And welcome back, Josh.
Did you bring a racing flag to go?